Hi, my name is Terry, and you're watching Terry Tells the Story. I've come here today to take apart the arcade experience, not just to play, but to understand how these places actually work. When I look at these rows of games, which cost several $1,000s to purchase, something bothers me. How does a business like this survive on a quarter at a time? If you have dozens of games costing thousands of dollars each, it must take a billion years to make your money back at 25 cents a play. And why, in a world where the people are already willing to pay to play, would an owner cut into their profit margins to give away tickets that can be redeemed for prizes? I mean, I understand that the prizes aren't very expensive and that they're traded for far more than they're actually worth in tickets, but with profits literally in pennies, why bother with the ticket redemption aspect at all? To answer those questions, we have to stop looking at this as a place to play and start looking at it as a masterclass in business algorithms and human psychology. These days, arcades are a nostalgic hobby, but in the 80s, this wasn't a throwback, it was the cutting edge. Before home consoles, Wi-Fi, or any internet, this was the only place on earth to play games. If you wanted to see the future, the highest graphics, or the best sound, you had to be here. This created a brutal social hierarchy. If your initials were at the top of that Pac-Man or Galaga screen, that wasn't just a high score, it was your reputation. You were the king of that floor, something akin to being the captain of the football team, and you defended that title against anyone who walked through the door. It was a digital gladiatorial arena, and being there in person was the only way to prove you were the best. Now, the business model. How do you make a profit with expensive machines and a low barrier to entry? It comes down to volume and overhead. The most expensive cost for any business is the labor, but remember, an arcade requires little to no staff to operate. And a machine doesn't need a salary, it doesn't take a break, and it can work 24/7. Once the owner covers the initial, say, $2,000 for a cabinet, the only real costs are the electricity to run the screens and the air conditioning to keep the room cool enough to prevent the motherboard from frying. If a game is played consistently for 10 hours a day at 25 cents a pop, that machine pays for itself in months, not years. And the more machines you have, the more you spread out the fixed costs, like rent, turning every extra quarter into pure profit. But let's talk about the redemption counter. Why cut into margins by offering prizes for tickets? It's because a standard game is a one-and-done experience. You play, you lose, you're frustrated, and you leave. That's a failing business model. Redemptions turn a loss into a win. When you play a game and earn tickets, you aren't just losing your quarter, you're collecting a tangible reward. Plus, these machines are smarter than they look. The big wheel you spin for tickets, that's not just luck, it's an algorithm. The machine tracks every single cent it takes in. It knows exactly how much it has earned, and it uses a preset payout percentage to determine when it can afford to drop those 40 or 80 tickets. We'll talk about this a little more in tomorrow's video, but basically it doles out rewards just often enough to keep your dopamine spiking, ensuring the machine never pays out more than the house edge allows. Tickets also connect directly to the family dynamic. Think of a child tugging at their parent's sleeve for more money to win a plastic toy that costs the owner pennies. The parent isn't paying for the prize. They know they could easily go to the dollar store and buy a similar prize for less. They are paying for 30 more minutes of peace and quiet. The arcade owner knows that as long as there's a prize at the end of the tunnel, that child is going to stay, and that parent is going to keep opening their wallet. The toy is cheap, but the babysitting service is worth a fortune. The kid gets the dopamine hit of the tickets, the parent gets their break, and the arcade gets the volume they need to stay profitable. Finally, look at the floor. The rows aren't random. They're designed to move you. They're meant to weave through them, only to see the next bright screen pulling you in. It's line of sight marketing. Every turn is calculated to keep you from ever leaving, from the moment you walk in until your pockets are empty. So, when you step into an arcade, don't look at it as a game room. You're standing inside an automated business refined for 40 years. The games get you in, the algorithms manage the payouts, and the prize counter ensures you never leave empty-handed. In Spanish, we call them videojuegos, video games. It's about la experiencia, the experience. Now you know the engine behind the machine. The next time you drop a quarter into that slot, you'll know exactly why you're doing it and exactly how they plan for you to be there. If you like this video or you learned something new, drop a like down below. If you have a specific topic that you'd like to see me cover, drop me a comment. And if you'd like to support this work that I do, there will be a link to the Cash App in the description box below. We'll see you next time.